Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back to Does It Suck? Our monthly vampire show where we watch vampire movies ranging from Dracula all the way to Bloodrayne.
In case you missed it, it appears we've watched Bloodrayne.
Yes. So
Save our souls.
we are your hosts, Nick, Lance, and Amber. And this month, they kept insisting it was my pick. And I'm like, we could watch something for winter, or you guys could watch Bloodrayne. And they're like, no, it's your pick. Go ahead and pick what you want. So I punched them by picking Bloodrayne by Uwe Boll.
I'll remember this, Nick. I'll remember this.
You know, Amber picked something. Mm-hmm. I picked something.
Yep.
And then you just had to shit all over us. I don't know why the aggression.
Buffy wasn't that bad.
I'm guessing that this was a retaliatory strike for making you watch Alone in the Dark.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It also might have had something to do with, at the time, I was playing Bloodrayne the Terminal Cut on my PC. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, Bloodrayne's pretty cool. And I don't know if you guys remember, but I have a Bloodrayne poster up in my room.
I know you have a Bloodrayne poster.
That I think I've shown you guys before. It's not going to show up on camera, so this is more just for them.
Is it for the movie?
But no, it's an insert from like a game magazine for like way back. You can even see the folds where it came out of a magazine. And I've had it up on my wall for a long time. And then when I got frames, I'm like, I'm just going to fucking frame it. And you can not see how...
It's a little shiny, but it's not so bad. I'll let you know how it turns out when I watch
this. If you know the poster
again.
if you know the poster for the game or the cover for the game, that's one of the promotional arts they used for it. And I've always liked Bloodrayne. And then the movie came out, and I didn't go to the theaters to see it because it was by Uwe Boll. And I'm like, no. But then one day I saw it in the store, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking, because if you know, like, it's on here, it's very small, but it comes with Bloodrayne 2, the game. Like, they couldn't sell you the movie. They had to sell you the movie, but also the PC game. And it's not the first one, it's the second one, which is the better one, I think.
Yeah, in case you bought the movie and were like, man, this movie blows. Ooh, video game.
Video game. And it costs the same as a movie. So that story I think I've told before, where like, oh, my brother saw this, or that was actually Bloodrayne 2. So I own Bloodrayne 2 on DVD as well, because my mom was shopping for Christmas, and she like saw Bloodrayne 2, and she's like, okay. And she called up my brother Mike, and was like, oh, Mike, do you think Nick would like Bloodrayne 2? And he's like, yes.
Absolutely.
So is this payback because your brother made you get Bloodrayne 2? Is that why we're being punished?
I mean, the reason why he said yes is because the two of us had watched this before.
Yeah.
Because we tended to get like very shitty movies.
And force each other to watch them.
And force each other and rip on them.
So what you're saying is, now that I know you own Bloodrayne 2, that you don't get to pick any more vampire movies. Got it.
That means in 3 months.
No.
Oh, God.
All right, maybe I'll rethink my upcoming picks, because I had a couple of really fun movies that I thought we all might enjoy on some different levels, but maybe it's time for Twilight already.
Yeah,
well, we had a fun run here, but I think I'm calling this ball game on account of vindictive behavior.
Don't worry, yeah, I'll probably pick Bloodrayne 2 eventually, but not next. Because this one I remember. Bloodrayne 2 has like left the psyche. That
good, huh?
They couldn't get Kristanna Loken back.
Oh, God. They couldn't even get the main actress who has nothing to her title.
I like Kristanna Loken. She's in Terminator 3. Is it? That's not called Salvation. It's just called Terminator 3.
Wait. Was she?
She's a female Terminator.
That was the same one? Mm-hmm. So we saw female Terminator's tits in this movie?
Yes.
Oh.
She was also in the L Word as one of, funnily enough, Shane's girlfriends. And Shane was my favorite character in the show. I watched that show before I met Shane. So when it's like, Shane, I'm like, I like that name. So she was like in a season briefly, and she was good in the show.
So we shouldn't take this as a testament to her acting ability.
So I liked her character in the show. I don't remember her being a fantastic actress, but she was playing just a mom in that. She was a single mom of a kid or whatever.
Yeah.
And kind of started a romance with one of the main characters, and she was only around for a season, but her character was interesting and kind of, I liked her character in that one.
I'm glad you still got work after this.
I think it was before this.
It was, no, I think it was...
L Word, I think, was before this.
It says right here on the
No,
back.
it's it was 2005 was this movie.
Maybe not then. Maybe not.
But I don't remember what
My mom would be very ashamed of me that I don't know this.
Because I think the O Word might have been on before. Yeah, okay, it was a 2004 series.
So this movie was like the hard stop of her career.
She might have been like the third or fourth. She was probably the fourth season or something like that. I don't remember exactly. But she would have done this first and then.
But then she was like, I have other options. Please don't make me come back to this franchise. You're going to find out that must be a common request.
Yeah. That's like near the end of the movie when people are just like, let my character die. No, don't save me. I don't want to be
Spoilers. We don't want to get too spoilery. There may be somebody out there who actually wants to watch Bloodrayne.
There might be characters in Bloodrayne that die. Spoiler warning.
Yeah.
So shall we go ahead and give our scores? Although I think,
yes.
I think if you're guessing along with us, we've given you plenty of hints. So Amber, what would you rate Bloodrayne on a scale from 0 to 10? With 0 being completely and utterly unredeemable, and 5 being middling.
I would totally never watch this ever again.
Yep.
Never. I'm debating whether I could at gunpoint. No, it's not that bad. But I would not willingly subject myself to this movie again.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun, but only because we were riffing on it the whole time, and we told some really funny jokes that I hope we can retell, that we can remember enough to retell here. So, generously, I'm giving it a 3.
Oh, wow. You're slightly more than that.
So we need to take the emotional, we need to take the emotional. We had fun ripping on it out of the equation.
That's
She can rate it however she wants.
Okay.
Did she have 3 fun watching this movie with us?
No,
Yeah.
I picked it. Okay.
Did you rate it as a movie or did you rate the
I rated it as her rating it as a movie. Like I didn't consider.
I rated it as an experience. It was the Bloodrayne experience for me.
Because I mean, if we ever have a 0 movie, that means that if we watch it together, we literally sat there and just went.
I have watched movies like that. Like my brother and I have watched movies where we sit around and they put so little on the screen that there's nothing for you to bounce off of it. So it's just you being like, this is fucking boring.
Yeah, I wouldn't give it so much. I was leaning towards 2, but I was like, I had a lot of fun ripping jokes with Nick mostly. Yeah. You were falling asleep, so.
And we weren't letting you.
Yeah.
The only way out is through. So Lance, what would you give Bloodrayne?
Well, I would give this movie a 7. I'm kidding. Don't show your stuff yet. I said that just because I give everything a 7. I would give this movie a 1.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not dog shit, but at the same time, it's.
You've not seen bad movies if this is a 1.
I mean, I've seen plenty of bad movies. Like, there's only one movie that comes to mind that I would give a 0 to. I mean, even Twilight would merit like a 3.
We'll find out when we get around to it.
Yeah, I mean, I might change that when we get to it. But yeah, the movie was, I guess, it's hard to.
We'll get into those. You can't describe it.
I'll just say
spoilers.
this as far as it comes to an Uwe Boll,
experience.
I'll bring over House of the Dead and we can compare and contrast.
Yeah, but
I knew what the fuck was going on in this movie.
Yeah, but as far as when it comes to an Uwe Boll
Terry
movie,
wasn't a scientist in this movie.
That's a point right there.
But yeah, as far as it comes to an Uwe Boll movie, it wasn't his worst stuff, but anyways, yeah, I give it a 1 and I stand by it.
Funny, he lied to us earlier. He said it was a solid 10.
Hey,
I know, right?
I had it ready. There's a 10 right here.
So,
how about you, Nick?
I think I would also give it a 3.
Hey!
All right, well, at least I got one right on that one.
And that's me rating it as a movie. Like the amount of fun sitting and watching it with friends. It might be a 5 watching it with friends because it's got such stupid shit that you're like, why did they make that decision? And you're like, they probably didn't make that decision. It probably just happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because okay, so he made us watch the director's cut, the extended version.
Yeah. That's the only way. That's the only way I had it. And I
It's also unrated.
Yes.
Lots of titties.
Yeah.
There was a lot.
Two scenes of titties.
But they were on the screen. Also, full frontal female nudity.
Yes.
And there's plenty of dicks in this movie too.
Just not. Just not those.
Yeah.
Just that man. That guy's a dick.
Meatloaf. Yeah. But
Yes.
yeah.
I wanted to keep the cast list secret because I wanted you to like sit down and be like, why is Ben Kingsley in this movie?
Oh no, I know. So I think Uwe Boll is like the Tim and Eric of like Hollywood movies because like I hate that show, but like Tim and Eric pulled Jeff Goldblum. Like they pull.
That's not hard. I think if I called Jeff Goldblum, he would probably show up here because he's just that kind of guy.
Well, I mean, but they pull like actual like A-list celebrities for like their shows, and I just can't understand it. And I think Uwe Boll does the same thing.
According to IMDb, the reason why Ben Kingsley was in this movie is because he wanted to play a vampire, and that was it.
I think it would have had better odds with Morbius.
If only Morbius was
he should have just held out for Underworld.
He would have been a hit.
He would have been good in Underworld.
He would have been good in Underworld.
Him and Bill the guy, they would have played real well off each other.
They could have given him an actual wig at that point.
Yeah. Instead of that Halloween shop one.
Or whatever the hell he's wearing.
Yeah.
So shall we get into spoilers?
Yes, let's get into
spoilers for Bloodrayne. Do you care?
You know, if someone other than Amber is watching this, I mean, and by Amber I mean me, and you don't want to be spoiled on this masterpiece, clearly, turn off now, come back, watch it. You know,
I was gonna say I don't even know if you can get it anywhere. Plex and Tubi. Okay, you can watch it free on Tubi.
You can watch it free on Plex.
Okay.
You had it on DVD, so we didn't do it. So.
I wasn't.
It's a movie
I don't want to give it a view.
It's a movie that no major channel wants, so you definitely see it on the free ones.
I don't want someone to be looking through that thing and being like, oh, Bloodrayne got a view. We need to keep it around for another week.
Well, Bloodrayne got a view. Let's find out who that sucker was, and let's send them more awful movies of this caliber.
And it was Uwe Boll. So good.
The unrated director's cut had like 5 minutes. I looked at the back. It was 99 minutes as opposed to 95 minutes.
Okay.
So it was 4 minutes of extra cutting scenes, probably.
Yeah, I think it had to be the gratuitous blood shots and maybe extended nudity scenes.
Probably.
Like the sex scene.
Because that really could be just cut right the fuck out of this movie, and nothing would have been missing.
Well, I mean, honestly, if you said it's 4 minutes, it had to have been just her reflecting on all the kills. That was about 4 minutes. So
and then also little bits in between, because during some of the fight scenes, it would cut to someone and then like his like gratuitous amount of blood or something.
Yeah, there was a lot of gratuitous anime style blood.
And then at the end of the movie, he went back and just kind of showed all that shit in slow motion, which makes it look fucking awful.
Yeah.
Because when it comes quick, you're like, okay, a spurt of blood. But when it comes slowly, you can see that there's a tube off screen shooting blood up at a man, and you can see the smoke come rise off it. When it goes quick, it's just like it's there and gone.
Yeah.
But when you slow it down and really go like, man, you can really see how movies are done. And also I think my favorite kill in this movie is the guy that gets cut in half. Because clearly it's a man standing behind a part in front of him, and you can see him like lying down.
Yeah, he like leans back.
He leans back away from the lower part of his body.
You know what the worst part is it had almost like Dracula Dead and Loving It kind of practical effects for some of the violence, but they thought they were trying to do good, whereas Dracula Dead and Loving It was intentionally violent.
I think some of the gore effects are okay. And some of the stuff looks like, I don't know, like the guy that got a sword in his face and it was like sticking out.
See, I was gonna say that was my favorite kill, was like with the sword in the mouth and then like out the back of his head.
No, my favorite kill was Ben Kingsley just walking forward and having people hold Valentine's still so he can say, I don't want to move my arm, just hold him still for me. I'm just gonna walk forward and do this until he dies.
I'm just gonna walk forward with my sword out, and if you get stabbed, it's your own problem. It's your own fault.
I'm not touching you. Okay, now I'm touching you. Oh, I'm really touching you.
And I really like the look on, what's his name, Mads something?
Michael Madsen.
Michael Madsen. I was Mads Mikkelsen, but that's absolutely wrong.
No, I don't think he's...
Michael Madsen. Like when he got stabbed, and it's just kind of like he's given that exact same blank. Like no one cares that they die in this movie. They're just getting like.
I mean,
they're getting stabbed. You're just kind
to
of
be fair, they established very early on that in this land of Bloodrayne, that people don't react to anything because they outright stake a vampire, like in the opening scene with Michael Madsen and discount Steve Stifler.
Mullet.
With his mullet.
MacGruber.
But like he flat out just stakes a vampire. And nobody reacts.
And the bartender's like, that's why I like you. Don't make a big mess.
Yeah.
But like, there's a crowded tavern. Nobody even like looks, reacts. No. They're just like going about things. Like, obviously, this is just common everyday practice.
Yeah, it's vampires and just death in general. It's so commonplace that if you leave a field of dead in front of like a carnival or whatever, the next day they're just making coffee or
like
going about their business, and you walk up and start beheading bodies, and they're like, okay. That's
okay. You go up and murder a girl who may have been bit, and they're just like, we're just going to murder you in cold blood. Nobody reacts.
She's a nice person. She wouldn't hurt if
eat shit. They're fucking tired of talking. Stab.
Yeah.
That's Michelle Rodriguez's move in this movie. Is stabbed.
Did she get killed in this movie?
She did. Bloodrayne snapped her neck and then drank her dry.
Okay.
And then everyone else in the room apparently fucked off.
Okay.
They show during that fight that
those guys are.
I was going to try.
But while they were swimming, they still showed them up there.
They showed the guys waiting for her to come back up, and then they do come back up.
But see,
Bloodrayne snaps her neck and drinks her blood.
So
they must have fucked off.
So I think what happened was the area Michelle Rodriguez went down in, and the area Bloodrayne went down, and I think there were two different entrances to the same pool, so they didn't see it.
I think that's your brain
trying to make sense of why they
why didn't they pay attention? It's like they're not on they're not on screen anymore.
I was about to say,
they no longer exist.
Are we seriously trying to fill plot holes to this movie?
So. The plot of this movie, I think, in its base, is interesting. You've got a vampire, and in this thing, or in this world, they still have the same weaknesses as vampires. They're weak to water. Vampires are weak to water, and they're still.
The only thing they're not weak to is holy, apparently.
But they never show vampires actually being affected by holy objects. It's just implied by the fact that it seems like, look, I'm wearing a cross.
The closest thing is they do use the holy water on Ben Kingsley.
Yeah, that's true.
At the very, very end. So.
And I guess Rain would have been right underneath him, so maybe she would have gotten hit with it too, and maybe it wouldn't affect her. But so she goes on a quest to collect Beliar's items or whatever. And she gets the eye, which makes her no longer weak to water. So maybe the implication is that the more of these you get, the more vampire weaknesses you get rid of. And that could be an interesting plot for a vampire movie. A vampire going on a quest to get items so that his weaknesses are no longer weaknesses, and he can be the top rolling vampire or something.
I'm pretty sure that movie's called Blade.
Well, Blade is just all the strengths of a vampire, none of the weaknesses. He just kind of skips the line.
One of his other powers is being able to wear a full suit of leather and a leather trench coat and not break into a sweat.
Rain did that too. Well, full leather.
Yeah, I was about to say.
She didn't have these parts and the midriff part, but the rest was leather. And they kind of totally fucked up on her blades. That's blunt as shit.
And they looked super unwieldy.
Yeah. You can just see in scenes when they're trying to wheel them with the arm shaking, like, these are too fucking heavy.
Yeah. So, congratulations, by the way. I'm sure if Uwe Boll watches this, he's gonna be like, "That woman is my continuity person right there. She's trying to patch holes that I never even thought of." So.
So one thing I realized, Michelle Rodriguez, she kept in theme to what she needs to do. This was all about family. Family. It's her dad may be a vampire, but still. It's all about family.
It's about the family.
And I also like they never establish where the setting is, because Michael Madsen just kind of talks in his voice.
Yeah.
Pretty much everyone just talks in the voice except for Michelle Rodriguez, who's talking very like, if you enunciate everything, then maybe you're British.
Yes.
Well, I think she was trying to bring that shit up, and everybody else like, seriously.
Yeah, quit it.
Yeah, stop. All right, but let me see your paycheck.
I don't even think Billy Zane attempted to do an accent, and he can.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, Billy Zane is capable enough of doing an accent. I don't even think he did.
Billy Zane's awesome.
They're just kind of vaguely in European-ish place or whatever.
My problem with Uwe Boll movies is it seems like it seems like no one gives a fuck. Like everyone in those movies seems bored as shit. Like Ben Kingsley sitting upon his throne of complacency. I'd like you to do my version of Masterpiece Theater. I'll play Ben Kingsley in the movie Bloodrayne, and here we go.
More intense. Upright. You have to sit upright completely. There, proper posture.
Yeah.
There it is. That's it.
I'm blinking. Sorry. I'm
Yeah,
not.
Oh, wait.
No blinking.
Smack, because, I'm about to kill her, but you were mean to her.
Hold on. Someone's approached me. Find the girl and get the thing for me because I want it. Okay,
Yeah.
back to business.
They never establish him as like a villain. Near the end, I guess he's kind of fighting.
Like, I don't understand how he was so all-powerful. Because, like, he seemed like the weakest person on there. It's like...
Well, I mean, I guess brings up into question if we were to go up over the list. One of which being nigh unkillable. Vampires die, like, super fucking easy.
Yeah, no.
This is kind of like I threw a knife at him and it kind of hit him in the shoulder. That vampire's dead. We don't have to worry about him anymore. It's like, it didn't hit anywhere close to vital. It's like, no, the hero threw a knife at him. It hit the vampire guy. He's down. He's dead.
Well,
Some of them were dudes.
yeah, and then that's the hard part was there's so many characters that were working for what was his name? Caden. And it's like, are they vampires? Are they not vampires? I don't know. He had armies of people working for him. Again, I don't know why. They didn't really establish he had like any kind of like, he had no mystical powers as far as we could tell.
No.
He didn't seem like he had super strength.
No.
Magic blood, okay, sure.
He had intense staring power.
It's just like there was nothing. So I'm like, why should I be afraid of this guy? Why should I think that this is an all-powerful vampire dude? Bloodrayne was more powerful than he was just by like, she picked up weapons she's never touched before, seemed to be an expert in them immediately.
Well, she watched her friend do it.
So,
yeah.
That's how that shit works.
So short-cropped arrowhead guy, which was his main henchman, like that guy was constantly walking around in the daytime, so he definitely wasn't.
No, he was human. He was a human, but I don't know why he served him. None of the even Billy Zane, who was a vampire, it's like he just apparently walked into his house and killed him too. It's like none of the vampires were like powerful.
Did he actually kill Billy Zane?
I didn't see him die.
I don't know if he.
We don't know.
I don't know if he actually killed him. But we just stopped seeing his character.
Yeah.
Because he had fulfilled his purpose. So we're done writing stuff for him now. Like, do we want to write a scene where we kill him? It's like, we'd have to pay Billy Zane at that point in time. Let's just not.
Dare does it suck? Do you even take your channel seriously? Of course, in the 48th minute of the movie, Billy Zane does in fact trip on a ham sandwich and kill himself.
Kills himself.
So he was eating a steak.
Fun fact, it was actually Uwe Boll's ham sandwich, but because he's such a hack director, he just left it in. Because that was some of the best acting he's ever got out of it.
No, some of the best acting were the apparently the prostitutes in the scene with Meatloaf.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, there was it.
Act like prostitutes. Okay.
Yeah, so, and apparently, in that scene, it was cheaper to hire prostitutes than actresses to pay them to be nude, so he just hired prostitutes.
I think that was the best move.
They didn't have any lines, so it's not like they had to have SAG cards.
No. Yeah, I think it was shot in Germany. I don't know if you need a SAG card in Germany anyway. Maybe if you release it in America.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not an actor. I don't know.
But
I think if you're in a movie, you have to have it.
So, going back to the cast, obviously we have Kristanna Loken. We had Michael Madsen, who the only thing I know he's in a bunch of Quentin Tarantino films.
Kill Bill.
He's in a duffel bag, right? Isn't he in that one as well?
Was he in Reservoir Dogs as well?
He was
Or Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah,
That's the
he
one
was
I was
Mr.
thinking
Blonde
of.
in Reservoir Dogs. He's the one that does the whole dancing scene.
Yeah,
and-
is he in Pulp Fiction as well?
I don't think so, but I think isn't he a Vega in Reservoir Dogs, and so the implication is that John Travolta is related to him in Pulp Fiction.
That sounds right.
I think that's the implication.
Yeah, he was in Species.
So then you had Discount Stifler from American Pie with the mullet, aka MacGruber, who is actually Warner from Legally Blonde, which is what most people who would know that actor from, because that's like his main role.
Matthew Davis.
Matthew Davis.
Or
Yes.
and Matt Davis, I guess.
And he is such a heel. in that movie with everything that he does, because obviously he is kind of like the inflection point of why Elle goes to Harvard to become
the catalyst to say you're not smart enough to be a lawyer, so she goes to be a lawyer.
She's not smart enough to be his wife, was what it was. So she was like, she went there to show she could, to try to win him back, and then earn the power of self-esteem.
Fuck it, let's turn this into a fucking Legally Blonde, dude. I have a lot more to say about it.
We must talk about blood.
But
I really liked Reese Witherspoon in that movie.
but you know, he had the painfully awkward sex scene in this movie where he looked like he did not want to even kiss her at first, and then suddenly was instantly hard and
pound
Checks
town.
out.
He got a fear boner, or hate boner, or whatever you want to call it.
It checks out.
What makes that scene even worse though is when you go back and see, like, previously he was going in there and rubbing the blood on her lips, so implying that the sex happens sometime after that point, and then it just makes it really creepy and weird. Then
It's like, man, you taste like blood.
I don't think that's accurate. I think because when he brings the cup in, he like, and then she like does the get up and then like scurries into the corner and drinks the blood. I don't think she would have scurried from him if they would have like bumped.
No. The blood scene happened first, and then later they have the sex. It still makes it really creepy because he was going.
Well, I think the blood scene was one in the compilation at the end of the movie, because he comes in and goes, "Here's your clothes," and he's like, "Stop acting so sad. You're not the only one that has bad shit happen to you." And he's like, "No, all this awful shit happened to me." And they're kind of like part with like, we're angry at each other. Then the next scene they're boning. Then the next scene they're just like okay with each other and never talking about it again, because that's a scene you could cut out of the movie.
How do y'all
and
remember?
Put in your unrated draft. I've seen this movie like.
How do y'all remember all this?
I've seen this movie like 3 or 4 times.
Terrible.
Yeah,
It's
like
burned in there.
I immediately like.
You were falling asleep.
I checked out pretty fucking fast in this movie. Like the funniest part to
fell
me,
asleep.
the funniest part to me was it was like, look at the mutant woman. You put her hand in a bar of water. Oh, she's burned. Now we give her some goat blood. Oh, it's healed. And then she went in to get the eye of fucking blobbity bloobity. And then when the water's flooding in, it touched the heel of her boot and her boot started bubbling. I was like, oh, I guess the boot takes on the property of her being weak to fucking water too. No, like it's just literally as soon as that movie started, when we got to a certain part, literally a no sail went over my head, and I was just like, nah.
No, but like. No, I was paying attention because I was doing Nick Solid. I was going to pay attention. And so, like, I noticed, like, continuity errors where she's riding a horse, suddenly has a cloak that she's never had before.
Yeah.
Then suddenly, in, like, a fraction of a scene, you see her with her hair tied, which we then pinpointed must have been shot from the end of the movie, but put at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, because they needed more scenes with her riding a horse.
Yeah.
And, like, do you think people will notice? Like, no one's paying attention to this movie. Just put it in. It's only a second.
Fucking director didn't even notice. Like, I'm telling you, there's no continuity to these movies. Like, I think Uwe Boll is like the new Ed Wood. Like, Ed Wood was famous for back in the day of just being like, and action. And then his actors would just do anything. And he'd be like, cut, perfect. Let's move on to the next scene. Like, he was the one fucking...
One take.
Yeah, one and done guy. And I think Uwe Boll's the same way. He's just like, okay, I need you to look like you're extremely bored in this scene. And we got it.
Easy.
Yeah, it's everything he does is painfully boring and bad.
How many Uwe Boll movies have you seen? 2?
Postal... I've seen
Alone in the Dark.
Kind of. This one now, For the King's thingy with the Jason Statham one.
Kingdom Come for the king for the.
It's the
Ollie King's Man or something like
King's
that.
Quest game or whatever.
Yeah, I know.
No, it wasn't King's Quest. It was
Let me pull up Uwe Boll. The Name of the King.
In the Name of the King. It
Okay.
wasn't King's Quest. It was one of the other
fuck
ones.
it,
It was a Diablo clone game that it was based off of.
It's in the Name of the
Look
King.
how much is in there though.
But that's him as a director.
Right.
So him as a director for 34 movies, because that's what I want. I want director Uwe Boll. Because we looked at some of this stuff once, and he did a bunch of German movies at the beginning, whatever. Blackwoods, Heart of America, House of the Dead, I think is where he kind of picked up notoriety.
I think I've seen House of the Dead.
I think I've seen.
I haven't
that one
seen
too.
it.
Alone in the Dark.
I think
Not really,
he
no.
showed me
I've-
House
I've-
of the Dead.
It's one we watched over at your place, but it might have been. I might
I think-
have just watched it with Tim.
I think I managed to not watch Alone in the Dark.
Yeah, Alone in the Dark.
I've seen Bloodrayne now.
Bloodrayne Seed. I don't even know. In the Name of the King, a
Seen
Dungeon
that
Siege
one.
tale. So
Dungeon Siege. Yeah.
Seen it.
No.
Postal.
Seen it.
Bloodrayne 2 Deliverance.
No, thank you.
1916. Well, Bloodrayne 2 Deliverance is going to be here eventually. Uh-oh. Bloodrayne 68
He did a
Tunnel Rats.
Far Cry movie?
Yeah, Far Cry. I mean, you can tell how great it is by the 3.2 on IMDb.
Yeah, no.
Stoic Rampage, not Rampage with the dinosaurs. It's a different one.
No.
Attack on Darfur.
No.
The Final Storm.
No.
Max
Schmeling.
Schelling.
Nope.
Auschwitz.
Nope.
I bet he did that tastefully.
Oh, God.
Bloodrayne the Third Reich.
There's a third movie?
Bloodrayne the Third Reich. It's Bloodrayne versus Hitler.
Blubberella.
I know, but now I kind of want to see it.
In the Name of the King, Two Worlds.
They made a second movie?
Just you wait.
Wait a minute. Was Jason Statham in it?
Yeah, absolutely. Assault on Wall Street.
No.
Suddenly.
No.
The Profane Exhibit.
No.
In the Name of the King, The Last Mission.
Jesus Christ. Let's hope it's the last one.
Rampage, Capital Punishment.
Nope.
Rampage, President Down.
No.
In Hanau, Deutschland in Winter.
Oh, these movies were done
Part
in...
1.
Come on.
That movie was done in 2002. So he had a gap from 2016 to 2022.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Up you go.
Yeah, no.
Clicks.
And-
Look,
well,
we
see-
got clicks.
so-
Do.
Tonight I thought that, before Nick proved me wrong, I thought he had done the Street Fighter movie.
No,
but,
he didn't.
But, like, I enjoyed the Street Fighter movie, so it makes sense that he didn't do it.
But did you enjoy the movie because it was good? Or did you enjoy it because it's a piece of trash like
Well,
this movie?
No, because it's funny.
Yes.
Like,
Which
when the truck's on fire and heading towards the gate, and he's like, quick, turn the channel! I laughed my ass off.
Which I put forward that this movie is funny.
No, this movie's hilarious unintentionally because I
And-
think I think the part that doesn't sit well with me is like I don't know how any of these actors could have like gone to go film these scenes and been like, yeah, I think I'm making a great movie here. Like, how do you go to work on a movie that you know is such a piece of shit?
Well, I don't know. Sometimes I think that you can cut around bad shit and make it look fine.
Yeah.
You just need to have a director, and also you're not behind the camera.
Yeah.
You just kind of do something. You're like, did that look good? And your director's like, yeah, it looked great.
I don't...
It looked great. I'm just going right in the movie.
I don't...
I mean,
And you just kinda
does he not
trust the
want to look the
director.
dailies? Because don't they do dailies? Or does Uwe Boll maybe not do dailies so his people can't see how bad or bad?
I'm pretty sure he
Or
does
not.
a daily line of Coke.
So I don't remember what actor it was, but somebody asked one of the people, it was like a bad movie, and they were like, why were you in that movie? And he was like, I needed a couch.
Oh, Michael Caine. It's like, why did you do Jaws 2 or whatever? It's like, I needed a yacht.
Yeah.
Or that one paid for my second house or something like that.
Yeah, it's sometimes I don't think
But
it's...
I wouldn't
I don't
think
think it's
there's a
about
lot
the
of
auteur of...
I don't think there's a lot of money to be made in Uwe Boll movies.
No, especially since it's kind of known that he buys video game properties because they're cheap, shoots them in Germany, gets for cheap, gets a bunch of tax credits, and makes money off of making the movies. So he's made money before the movie is out.
So it doesn't
So
matter how
doesn't-
terrible it is.
It doesn't matter what the movie looks like
Yeah.
because he made his. Which, I mean, I don't know. You're a struggling actress or something like that, and someone's like leading a movie.
Yeah.
That might be tempting.
Yeah, knock it over.
No, leave Bloodrayne alone.
Rawr. It's the best part of this video so far. Get it.
She's trying to help us get clicks.
Get
Hi,
it.
baby.
Get it, Shrimp Rain.
Shrimp brain.
Shrimp Rain.
Shrimp brain. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Because she got shrimp breath.
She is orange though, so you know.
And she tiny.
She's like dried blood.
She tiny. She like a shrimp. Shrimps.
So in the discussion of
Now let's talk about the cat.
of Nazis and in the first game, she fights Nazis. It takes place in 1940, like
Okay.
3 or whatever. Them taking it this far back is what's weird. I think they're trying to show her origin story.
Oh well.
And the Beliar parts is kind of from the first game, but they're parts of a demon, and they can go in anybody. It's not like,
They're not special for just me.
yeah, they're not just for vampires.
Like I think like if we were to go through the criteria for vampires, like I feel like this movie is missing a lot of them.
Sure.
Oh, I mean, why don't we do that?
Oh, pull it up. Blood dependency.
Yeah.
Yeah. Immortality.
I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he at one point Tom Kagan even says like, "Do this for me, and I'll grant you eternity."
Yeah.
No, they mentioned it, so it's got to be so.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes that's all you get. Physical prowess?
No. Like,
I mean, she
Sure,
could.
not really.
She could lift those heavy ass weapons. So yeah, maybe.
I
they
really
don't go out of their way to show supernatural strength.
and see like the closest is her jumping up to grab the blade.
But they would just do that in a movie where someone is acrobatic.
Yeah, so I don't feel like that showed
Alright,
physical
no.
prowess.
I don't think so. They're probably supposed to, but they don't show it.
No.
Magical prowess, like with the enchanting gaze and thrall creation. No, not
No.
really. Magical blood, vampire blood heals, acts as a drug, makes vampires. I mean,
She drank the
it's
goat's
the bite.
blood.
Blood was definitely.
She drank the goat's blood and her wounds healed.
But
that's more of the, if she gets blood, her blood doesn't do things for stuff.
yeah, her blood was not magical. But
The reason why they kill random girl because she got
They're-
bit. She
they're-
was going to turn into a vampire.
yeah,
It's the bite itself that turns you into a vampire. That's why you're like, she gets so callously killed.
Okay.
yeah,
So I don't think magical blood is there.
Right. No.
Nigh unkillable.
no.
They were falling left and right.
It seemed they made it so fucking. I mean, they did have to behead them and burn them to ash. Kind of.
I mean,
but then
look-
later in the movie, they're just doing shit to them.
Look how easily MacGruber staked the first vampire.
Yeah, it's fucking easy.
It's sticking.
Hey, you called him that. I'll call him that. It's fine.
Shape shifting,
No.
No, not once.
distinctive appearance. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
They did get bumpy heads. They got the bumpy
They-
heads.
Yeah, they had fangs. They tended to. Some of them were pale. I mean, like Ben Kingsley looked white.
He always looks
How much
white.
stunned he was in
I mean,
that
like white
movie.
as shit. Coffin dependency. No.
No.
Monstrous / predatory. I mean,
Meh.
I guess the monstrous in that
She would go-
the
They were-
meatloaf hat.
They were predatory because, like, the only reason I will give them that is you saw the two people that she saw on the street when she first got to the one town
out hunting.
out hunting, and she could tell, and they did seem very predatory with how they were trying to hunt. And then she became the hunter of the
She
hunters.
also like would go through the bloodlust where she was like charging through the carnival or whatever and like biting everybody in
Yeah.
her path.
Yeah,
so.
she got a taste of human blood, and so she went to a blood frenzy. Something you would expect to come up later in a movie.
Totally.
No.
Because you would establish it early on in the movie, like, hey, when she tastes human blood,
she goes
she
into
goes a little nutty.
But-
And then when she eats Michelle Rodriguez, she goes,
Nothing.
rah, and then that's it. End of that scene.
And then Michelle Rodriguez is like, yeah, I'm famous for dying on camera. And they're like, nah, we're going to save you. Just for a little while longer.
We're going to save you for last. Tragic figure. No,
no.
not really. I mean, maybe
Tragic movie.
maybe Rain, but the vampires themselves,
No.
not really. Randy. Their bites did not really look euphoric. They just kind of made you stop.
I think they were randy, but I don't know that was a byproduct of being a vampire. I
No.
think they were just horny.
And even they showed only some of them. It was like the meatloaf vampires were kind of horny.
Meatloaf was obviously Ben Kingsley was at least once because he apparently raped somebody once.
Yeah.
I feel like Billy Zane's character was too.
Or was he just acting?
Yeah.
Okay, he's just kind of had that air. I'll give it as soft. As soft as MacGruber.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm thinking the wrong. No, Billy Zane gave me a hard on. I really like Billy Zane, so never mind. No, I'd say no.
A hierarchy.
I mean, we don't understand why Ben Kingsley was the head of everything, but apparently he was because even Billy Zane like owed fealty to him.
Yeah.
But they don't give us a reason why.
I
and-
think it's because he probably had. It seems like he ruled the land anyway.
Yeah.
And they don't owe him fealty because he's a sire. They owe him fealty because he's the lord.
Yeah,
So it's hierarchy in the same way that, like, oh, that's king, whatever.
that's the king.
So
That's
I
the
would-
president. That's your
would-
neighbor. I don't know.
I would say in Vampire Society, they don't really establish
No.
a hierarchy. Sunlight weakness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy weakness.
Yeah.
Forbidden.
Well, they established that there is a holy weakness, but we never really see anybody.
Well,
Holy water. There was holy water at
yeah,
the
but
very
crosses
end.
don't do shit.
But
They
holy
never
weakness is-
tried to do crosses against anybody
No,
though.
they
either.
show that she is wearing one, and that, like, look, I'm not a vampire because I'm wearing a cross.
Okay.
And the vampire hunters across from her took that as like, oh, okay.
Oh, she didn't say no takesies backsies. So
Well, they didn't go, that's not a fucking rule. So if they did, I would say that's, but holy water hurt.
all right.
The Forbiddance.
No.
I mean, Ben Kingsley just walked right in that house and killed Rain's
Yeah.
mother, so no.
Oh, he'd been there before.
I don't know.
They
That's true.
didn't do anything to establish that there was any kind of thresholds that
Yeah.
they had to get permission to cross.
He knocked on the door and was like, "Want this dick?" The first time, and she's like,
No, he was
"Sure." And then after that, he could just come and go as he pleased.
They didn't shut. Water weakness.
Yes.
Yes. Silver weakness.
They
Well,
don't.
no reflection, I guess.
Yeah, there was no reflection. They showed that once
Yes, just once. That's
at
what
the
we did.
very beginning.
Yeah, and repelled by garlic. We never
They,
see it.
that, so
So we got one.
there wasn't a lot.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
This movie blows.
7 of 19.
didn't even get half.
So
And
not very good.
there's some ones that are,
Not very, I guess not very traditional.
There's some ones that are being very generous on
And
that
so yeah,
list,
some of those
too.
are being generous.
Yeah.
And he didn't even get half of those. So
Feel free to keep doing what you're doing because that spot is very itchy.
scratch dependency, yes.
Yes. So the vampires aren't particularly traditional.
Yeah.
Even as a damn fear, it's kind of you. In most things, damn fears get like powers and like less weaknesses or,
Yeah.
no weaknesses. This was like powers, pretty much all the weaknesses.
Yeah.
She even could make vampire. Like she could bite
Yeah.
someone and make a vampire.
Nah.
So she could.
And she offered to do that to discount Steve Stifler, and he was like, "Nah, I'd rather die."
Bloodrayne 2? No.
Pass. Hard pass.
Pass.
No, I've got other things that I'd like to do with my career.
I don't need a pontoon
So
boat
just
that
nothing.
bad. Yeah.
It's like let me bring you back for the sequel.
Yeah.
I hear unemployment's nice.
Sweet oblivion.
The more I
Sweet
talk,
oblivion.
the more I talk about this movie, the more I'm heading into a 0 out of 10.
No, this is
It's not that bad.
This movie is not. You've not seen movies. If
It's not that
this movie's
bad.
a fucking 0.
But speaking about how bad do people think it is, so Nick, I happen to have the Rotten Tomatoes scores open. What do you think? And I'm doing it because I accidentally saw them while trying to see where we could find them, and I found
You
it
go.
on Plex,
You
and
go first.
Plex
So,
had the Rotten Tomatoes scores.
I've seen the IMDb one, so we'll let you do that one. But the Rotten Tomatoes one.
So critics.
So the critics, I'm gonna say, they gave it a 7.
Lance.
I'm going to say a 5. By Price is Right rules.
No prices. It's closest.
Oh, then I'll give it a. I'll say they give it. You know what? I'll say a 4.
Well, he revised it right to the button. It was 4% on IMDb for the
Nice.
critics.
4?
4.
4% out of 100.
There was one guy that was like, okay. Wait, stop. No. For 4%, that was one person that was like, that boy good. That boy, you only saying that because that boy your nephew. He good. That was a sexual chocolate dilemma. It was a family
So-
member. Uwe Boll must know.
What does the audience give it?
6.
21.
21.
Lance is closest
Jesus.
because they gave it a 17.
Hey!
So
Yeah, he's 4 off.
closest.
I'm 10 off, yeah.
So
Nice. And people hate those fucking movies. And I gotta admit, I wasn't cheating, but like I was looking at the scores as you were going through the IMDb.
Going through
but
IMDb.
you don't-
Most of his IMDb stuff.
it
It
was like
hovers around the
2.3, 2.1, and it was like, okay, people hate this fucking movie.
Yeah, and I think IMDb was like 2.9.
yeah, I was gonna say I can guess the IMDb because that one I don't know, but I would give it. I would say generously, I would think he might get a 2.7.
Yeah, it's at 2.9. What's the Metacritic on for Bloodrayne?
What is that on a scale?
It's on a scale of 100.
Metacritic.
1 to 100?
I don't know if it goes to 0. And by me not knowing it goes to 0, I mean they didn't put a 0 here.
I'll give Metacritic. I'll say is a.
I'll say it's a 5.
I'll say it's 15.
Let's close again. It's at 18.
Oh.
Yeah. My phone's dead, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't look at anything.
Tough shit. I have the power. So yeah, in the IMDb score is 2.9. I think that's the closest. Out of 35k people rating it on a scale of like 1 to 10, I think 2.9 is.
Which is again close to R3's.
I think it's about where it belongs because there is stuff in it. Now, one has like there is a single redeeming thing. Is there not?
Her
one?
titties.
And that's it.
That's it.
You didn't like Meatloaf coming in and just being
No, he was fucking
weird?
terrible.
It was awful. It was grippy.
You didn't
was
like
terrible.
the fact that Michelle Rodriguez was all about family.
No. There was, to me, there was nothing really that enjoyable other than the fact of us, like, basically going, "Pachoo, pachoo,"
That
like,
was fun.
taking shots on it.
It was
That's
an
fun.
experience.
But,
Like,
but when I picked my number, I was not considering in the lulls we made. Like, I didn't.
But we've done that on every other movie. We've watched together.
Me neither. I rated it as a movie.
I rated
She
it
rated it as the fun.
Yeah, because I can be very colored by my first experience watching something.
I mean, it was surprising that you gave it a 3 to me because you were like, yeah, I had fun watching it. But like your lead up to giving your score was, this movie was terrible. It was awful.
It is terrible.
It's fucking great. And like, I'm just like, as you're reading off all the stuff you hate about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get her. Oh, I'm gonna get her. I'm gonna get her. At 3, and she heads to fucking warp speed and shoots ahead of me. I was like, okay.
It's like the Buffy thing again, because I was like, I love Buffy the movie. It's a terrible movie, and I rated that one for the fact that. So I'm inconsistent.
That score's not even half of what she. Ow. It was.
I think there is some stuff for this movie that's okay. The plot is not that bad.
Meh.
And as a general, if you were to summarize the plot,
I think one of the things I said while you maybe were nodding out is I told Nick, I said I could see redeeming. I could see a movie in here that was worth telling.
you could take this plot, doctor it up, and make it good. You would need a director that gave a shit. You could probably even take these actors with a director that gave a shit and have him be like, "Oh, that shot was bad. Do it again. Take 2."
Just because you said that, there is a movie worth watching in there.
Yeah,
But it's not being helmed by Uwe Boll.
that's correct.
Yeah, but
I can agree with that assessment.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
But
for
I
me to
can
give-
see
for me-
redeeming qualities about the movie within the travesty that is Uwe Boll's direction.
Uwe balls.
Uwe balls.
Ooey balls. So, like, I think the plot's okay. I think some of the, like, she looks like Bloodrayne. She's got the costume there. She's got the red hair.
Never played the game.
Yeah, I played the game a lot when I was a kid because it was dope. You got to run around and cut people up. It was fucking sweet.
And you gotta play a redheaded tittied vampire.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
I'll take your word for it.
Well, you got to, like, in the first game, like, you would run up to it, like, you're fighting zombie Nazis or whatever, and you run up and you just kind of, like, start biting them, and while you're biting them, you can just be shooting your gun at other people. And it was fun.
That sounds dope.
I've played it recently. It's clunky as shit, and the melee combat doesn't feel as good as it should.
Is that PlayStation 2?
I played on PC.
PC? Okay.
Because I owned the originals on Steam, and then at some point in time, like in 2020, they're like, "Oh, you own the originals? Here's the terminal cut. It's updated so it runs on modern systems."
Well, they're just doing that because Steam doesn't want you to sue them.
Well, some games you have to jank up in order to get them to run on modern systems.
You can't run Nice Little Republic on modern
You have
systems.
to find drivers.
So,
And those don't always work.
So I was, I've tried to play UFO Defense so many times. Like
We
XCOM
got it
UFO
to
Defense,
work
which
on my
isn't-
computer for a while that one time, but that was a while ago, and that was, I think, before my most recent system.
Yeah, it just run. Like, you need special shit to run it. So what they put out, Bloodrayne 1 and Bloodrayne 2 terminal cuts. I played it through like half of the second one, so I'm not fully up to it.
Yeah.
He took aspects of the story of the first one. He took aspects of the story from the second one. The second one does have a vampire named Kagan. It is her father. But, like, she kills him in the beginning. I think he comes back later. I don't remember. I didn't get that far.
Yeah.
But it's her fighting, like, his offspring. She's out to kill all vampires related to Kagan. But it's not in vague fantasy land where people maybe speak in some sort of accent, but not really, and some just don't even try. But, okay, we're talking redeemable shit about Bloodrayne. I think the costumes were okay. She looks like Rain.
Yeah.
The blades-
Michelle Rodriguez had a high-end Hot Topic wardrobe.
Yeah, she looked okay. It's not great, but she looked okay. I think everyone's outfits looked fine. I mean, you could look at some of the.
Michael Madsen's hair and Michael Davis's, I think is what we've determined. Matt Davis, whatever. MacGruber's hair, they were awful. Ben Kingsley's wig needed work. Billy Zane's wig. I think it was a wig.
Yeah, probably. And
It looked pretty bad.
Billy Zane's been pretty bald.
Cross-eyed dude.
Yeah, I was
Like
about to-
I need to, you know, if you
Will-
want to know where
Will
his barber
Sanderson?
was, because he had some tight lines going on.
So wardrobe was fine. Hair and wardrobe. Just need to put a little crowbar
Weirdly,
separation.
like practical effects for makeup for
A lot of the cutting up effects were kind of cool.
hit and miss on the practicals for the actual like body gore.
Yeah.
Me, I'm
But
generous.
when they were doing the practical effect for making them look like vampires, that looked good.
Oh, yeah.
The CG for the transition, janky as fuck.
Like Meatloaf going up in flames. That looked pretty good. Like, I mean, the fact that when sunlight was coming through the north window and the south window and the east window is kind of like, do you know how sunlight works? But I mean, the him going up in flames part was kind of cool. I thought the aesthetic for his kind of like murder pit or whatever was interesting, where you just have people up on hooks and you just kind of walk up and like tap, like push up against them, the blood pours out. I mean, that's interesting.
It seems
Where
very
there's-
inefficient.
It's very unfair. I don't
It
think
sounds like the factory. It sounds like the Master's Factory in the
Yeah.
Wishverse.
Yeah, but it's definitely to the point where they don't give half a fuck about people. Like you,
Sorry, I can't help but bring Buffy into a vampire discussion.
if people run out of blood, go get you another blood bag. Who gives a shit? And it's interesting.
What a lovely day. What a lovely... Oh, sorry. Wrong movie. My bad.
As long as, I thought you were gonna break out into
Oh God, is
into
that movie?
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
It's, you said... Never mind. It's
Yeah.
not worth bringing up. But anyways, this movie's trash.
I think it's a 3. It's at least a 3. Well, it's upwards of a 3. Between a 2 and a 3.
Usually I'm the one that gets accused of being overly generous with my scores.
Yeah, I mean, my generous score is a 3 out of 10. We're not doing 5 stars here. We're 3's average.
Yeah.
But sitting down with friends and watching it,
It
I
is-
could see it being a 4 or 5 worth of fun because there's enough shit in here that everyone can laugh at.
I can agree with that, but it's like those laughs are so few and far between.
I cut jokes most of the time, and then I realized that 45 minutes, like, oh God, it's only been on for 45 minutes. It's dragging so much.
I got, hey, wake up. And I was like, I'm awake.
The only way out is through.
And, hey, oh shit, yeah, I'm here.
You're not getting out of
But
this.
the worst part was with the soundtrack being so loud and the talking being so low, I couldn't tell if he was snoring or if it was the soundtrack.
Soundtrack.
Because I normally can pick up when he's like snoring in the
Well,
chair,
I was
but I couldn't.
looking over because usually you watch a movie like this. You don't watch a movie like this. Like, stop it.
I saw most of it.
If I gotta watch this movie, so do you.
I'd say I watched a good 95% of it.
Yeah, you watch most of it.
Well, Lance,
You'll
the
know
good
nothing,
news
yeah.
is you get to think long and hard about what January's
Oh, I know what
Vampire.
I'm picking now.
vampire movie will be.
Twilight. No, not really. Well, I'll get back to y'all on
Yeah,
that.
no, you don't have to decide right now.
Do you think you're gonna do me worse than Bloodrayne? You're gonna pull.
I'm pretty
Challenge accepted.
sure. No, I'm not up to that challenge. That's self-inflicted as well.
yeah,
so.
I'll sit through it and laugh, and you'll be in the corner miserable.
I'm not doing that, but
I think I've built up to 3 again for my next pick, depending upon what Lance may or may not pick.
So, I like Bloodrayne the game. So this movie, despite being a horrible piece of shit, has a little bit of nostalgia for me. Because also it's me watching it with my brother, and I remember us watching it and just ripping on it. And that, like, the cover, they fucked that shit up. Because the title says Bloodrayne, and you notice how there's 2 strokes? It's 2 strokes because it's Bloodrayne 2. And they didn't give a fuck enough to know that in the first one it's supposed to be 1 stroke.
okay.
Let's say I'll even. So I was looking for it in the movie, and in the movie, when the title card came up, 2 strokes. On the poster for the movie, 1 stroke. On the cover of this game, 2 strokes. But if like you look at here too,
2.
it's Bloodrayne 2. It's 2. It's 2 strokes because. I mean, you're not gonna be able to super see that super well. Underneath the little stroke, it says 2. Mm-hmm. They just got rid of the 2, kept the 2 strokes because they dumb.
Well, that and someone was like, we fucked up. And now the person was like, I don't care. Just let it run.
No, they didn't
Make
do
it look like a sword.
They didn't give a shit. So I'm assuming that's why Mads Mikkelsen's sword
Looks so dumb.
It's because it's trying to look like the brimstone signal. Because if you don't know, that is the alchemical signal if there's 1 stroke for brimstone.
Okay. I'm going to take your word for it.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
All right. Well, I mean, does anybody else have anything else to say about this travesty of a car wreck?
No, but we've almost talked for an hour. Ha!
I'm captive audience, so.
You're here. You're stuck. So I'm only speculating here, but about midway through, so she breaks her little blades, and then she gets new blades, and the new blades have a little hole in the base, like they're supposed to attach to her arm, like they do in the video game. But then it's like they tried to make that shit work, and it wasn't working. So they're just like, nah, just fucking carry him again. And that would be the most... Carrying a weight of a sword out here has got to be the most awkward thing.
It's Baraka. You'd have to be Baraka.
Well, Baraka's come out of his... But in the game, they're attached to her arm.
Yeah.
And they flip backwards, so they're out of her way when she's doing shit.
I thought you were going to
And then
say
she-
with the
and then
tube,
she
she stabs people and like sucks their blood up through it.
There's no tube.
I thought you said there was like a little tube that comes
No,
out.
no, no. There was a hole.
A hole. Like you would put.
You could see 'em.
You could put a swivel on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
like you could mount it to the swivel and then it would attach. But yeah, no.
And then
Yeah.
because she
always-
keeps him back. They go back. She flips him forward, and then the handle's essentially sticking out. It comes up. She catches it in here, so she's holding it, but then it's bracered on her arm, meaning that it's more wieldable. Still impractical video game weapons, but
It's okay for a video game.
yeah,
though.
for video.
Better than a lightsaber tonfa.
It is better than a lightsaber tonfa, but that's not hard. And a lightsaber tonfa is better than a lightsaber whip.
Or
But that
nunchucks.
is also not hard.
Lightsaber nunchucks are also very impractical.
Yes.
But what about lightsaber fangs?
They did lightsaber umbrella. Like, no. But it was still kind of cool. Yeah, in the animation when where it was like
The
all the
samurai.
anime.
Oh, I didn't know
Samurai
that.
guy.
No, I've not watched that one.
Yeah, they had like an umbrella that had like lightsabers on it.
No, you remember lightsaber fangs?
I do remember lightsaber fangs.
Vader
because
riding
Vader
the-
riding the giant spider who had lightsaber fangs.
Yeah.
Lance apparently forgot.
You forgot about Vader riding the giant spider with lightsaber fangs?
No, I was just hoping I'd go through the rest of my life without mentioning that again.
Release me in this video.
Didn't you draw a picture of that?
I did draw a picture of
Do you
it.
still have the picture?
I probably somewhere, but where
It's probably in one of your D&D binders
Yeah.
because I think...
which I've got like 3, and 2 of them are stored somewhere.
Yeah, it's probably one of the old D&D
So it's
binders.
probably in storage amongst the various loose papers.
This is how the genie feels trapped in the lamp.
I'll make a wish.
I wish y'all be like, okay, we got nothing else to say about this movie. Bad.
So I brought Bloodrayne 2, and my wish is for us to turn this into a double feature. No, I'm just kidding.
No. I am not on board for that.
You know what? Sure. Did you really bring it?
No.
Thank God. I was
You know
calling.
what?
I was calling your bluff, and you've been like, "Yeah, I brought it." I've been like, "I'm joking." No.
No, I know it's gonna be sometime before we watch Bloodrayne 2. I just wanted to be the only video on YouTube that talks about Bloodrayne.
You know what? I think you got your wish on that. I'm pretty sure anyone types in Bloodrayne looking for the video game, they'll stumble across this shit and be like, "Whoa, these guys desperate for hits." Like,
Wouldn't call it. So
All right,
I've just been staring at the tagline where it's like, man, that was one hell of a ride.
So we haven't asked the most important question, Nick.
Oh, does it suck?
Does it suck, Nick?
Yeah, it blows.
it
Lance?
blows.
It bites so hard that you don't want to have sex with her. You'd
Yeah,
rather die than have sex with her again.
It's like, do you want to live forever and have sex with me? It's like, no, I'm out. I'm fucking out, please.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, this movie was like, I thought you were joking last week when you were like, "Yeah,
No.
we're watching Bloodrayne," and I was like,
No, I knew he was serious.
Well, I mean, it's like we've been talking for a while
About
how we were going to start. You know, the original concept of this channel is that we were going to make each other watch movies, whether they be good or bad. And we've been very nice to each other, and I do believe you've thrown the gauntlet this time. So, yeah. Here we go.
Fortunately, this is the only channel part that I feel obligated to participate. So if they do it for Have You Seen, I can note them down.
Yeah.
Unless it's something she's watched.
Oh, if it's stuff I watched and I enjoyed mocking it, yeah, sure.
So
Lost Skeleton.
yeah, well, we're gonna watch The Lost Skeleton. Just
Psycho Beach Party.
I barely remember that. Do you have that one on DVD?
Yes. You
Technically,
ran across it today.
Technically it's Tim's, but yes, we
Okay.
have it here. He left it here intentionally.
So is the Lost Skeleton.
Because I mean, I've got.
We also have
I've got The Lost Skeleton on DVD and on YouTube. I can come over here and cast it to the TV.
We've also, I think we also have his Dark and Stormy Night,
I also have that one on YouTube.
which I've actually not seen. Dark and Stormy Night.
I sleep now. Rower. This is a good movie.
So Psycho Beach Party. Watch on Strand Releasing with Prime Video channels.
We've got the Blu-ray.
Yeah, no, I was just curious, like, what's Psycho Beach Party on? Because I'm sure
It's such a good. I love that film.
I'm sure all the watchers here. It's got Greg in it from
Greg and Dharma.
Dharma.
Yeah, it's got Thomas Gibson.
I don't know his actual name.
He's from Charleston.
Is he really?
Yeah. He is also on Criminal Minds for several seasons.
Beth Broderick looks familiar too. But I don't know why.
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Oh, she's Zelda Spellman from Sabrina the Teenage
Okay.
Witch. That's why she looks familiar.
Isn't Amber Benson also in that one? I know Nicholas Brendan
Yeah,
is,
Brendan
but I think
is. I don't remember.
maybe Amber Benson is.
I've seen that movie.
I've seen it multiple times, but Tim and I first watched it at 2 a.m.
Amy Adams is in it. For some reason.
I want to watch it again now.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I think we've all seen it. I think you've made Lance watch it, right?
No.
Have you never seen it?
Nope.
Hey, Lance, have you seen it? Don't peek my mic.
I'm not trying to peek your mic. Turn off the video now. It will stop them from continuing to talk in this video and run it over an hour.
Hey, we're over an hour.
I wanted to get us to an hour,
Shit.
and I made it happen. Tip. All right, I think we've
Prattled on long enough.
I think we've drained Bloodrayne for all she's worth.
And if we were a vampire, she'd have probably tried to kill us by now. But since we're not, I think we're safe.
And she'd be able to come in the house because forbiddance be damned.
Rower.
Rower.
She'd just find the local horse to borrow.
Yeah. From your local take a horse, leave a horse stand. If there's a horse there, just take it. And then that's how horses work, right? It's kind of like when you're leaving a place and there's an umbrella and you just kind of take one or put one.
Now we're talking about the best parts of the movie. Is all the bullshit. We're just like, okay, that's fucked up.
I think there's fun bullshit in
The
this.
fact
Watch
that
this
the
movie.
monastery didn't care that she went downstairs, murdered their guard, and stole their priceless artifact. They're like, come sit. We must talk with you now.
Come with me. You can't leave now. Oh, we're dying? Sorry. So I think there's stuff in this movie to watch with friends and enjoy. If you're like, man, I'd really like to watch a vampire movie. This isn't it. No. So
If you're looking for a good vampire movie,
this ain't
skip
it.
this one.
But if it's kind of like you and a bunch of your friends want to
Drinking, getting high, want to just, torment each other, it's good fun.
Funny part is when I went to the bar earlier, I had a few beers, so I was like going into this with a buzz, and I was still miserable.
Well, it's whatever your buzz was. It wasn't buzzed enough.
Yes, yes, I can definitely agree with that.
All right, I think we can put a stake on this one.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.